All right, so this is chapter 7. So let's open up chapter 7, open project. Let's go to our lessons. Lesson 7. So it's going to yell at me again because it's an old lesson file. And I'm probably going to have to reconnect my media. Maybe not. No. Because it remembers, I think, from the last time that my media are in a different place. Okay. So lots of times what happens is students have fun with transitions. And just because you can do a transition doesn't mean that you should. Your book talks about best practices for transitions. It's on page 158. As I mentioned before, dissolves and crossfades signify some sort of passage of time or transition. So especially if you've got all cuts and then you have one dissolve, it just is a little bit distracting. Try not to use them to cover up an interview jump cut. I know that's kind of like the easy way to cover up a jump cut, but it's just not the best way. Use B-roll to do that. A fade in or fade out, or a fade to black or fade to white signifies typically the end of something. I actually like to use fade to white to transition from like an open video or out of an open video, particularly if the open video is white. Fade to white sometimes signifies a surreal experience. A wipe itself signifies a turning of a chapter, so turning of a page. However, you should know that in any video transition, you're going to need what they call handles, which is like the extra video at the end. So let's go to our transitions sequence. So I'm already there. And so if you go to the effects panel, so remember effects controls in the source monitor is different from the effects panel. And if you're working with a large computer, this will probably be right here, but mine is a little tiny laptop. So go to the effects pane, and here are a bunch of video transitions. So you have a million different types of transitions there. And this is, I think, Final Cut Pro has their transitions over here. So that's why it always drives me crazy when I try to teach both. So go to transitions, your dissolve, and the default tends to be the cross dissolve. That's certainly nothing wrong with that. So you can start that piece of video there. Okay. And this is called a one-sided transition. Now my Pomodoro break just went on. But you want to make sure that you have handles at the beginning. So as you can see, you need to have that extra video in the beginning. That also looks like a fade from black, right? But that's a one-sided transition. So you can try the fade or dip to black at the end, but it's the same as a fade to black. But just notice that these transitions are, I think, a second by default. And you can adjust the size of the transitions. So what sorry, I'm looking at my notes and they drive me crazy. So what you also need, watch what happens. So I have this Laura clip. So let's look at this Laura clip. And I'm going to see how long this Laura clip is. So what you can do is just pull it all the way to the, oh, that's a really long clip, so never mind. So what students tend to notice is that, so if I want to pull this clip back, okay, remember that. So watch that, how it just snaps. Boop, boop. So I've used the entire beginning and end of this clip, okay? And this is what happens typically when you don't have what they call handles on either side of your clip, is if you try to do a cross dissolve, and only it will do it to one side of it, okay? So it'll do it on this side. Why not the? I thought it had the. But watch what happens here. So the cross dissolve is not possible on this side, so it can't start this before. So what happens is they've moved the cross dissolve to start. So the cross dissolve actually starts. Sorry, I'm trying to find. So the cross dissolve will actually start here rather than where you wanted it to. So the cross dissolve really, so typically what you have is the cross dissolve. Watch, it'll start here and change there. But as you can see, kind of, okay, so that's the way that it should look. But they've started the cross dissolve later because you don't have the handles on either side. So then you have, sorry, I'm rushing through this. So you also have audio transitions, and I like personally to do my audio transitions manually. We'll work with audio a little bit more towards the end of the semester, about mid part of the semester. But audio, you can do audio crossfades in the same way. So, no, not audio effects. Audio transitions. So your basic is your crossfade. I changed mine to exponential fade. You might not know the difference. So what that'll do. What I typically suggest for students to do, if you've got a lot of crazy audio going on, it's not a bad idea to always put between your cuts, put like a 2-frame audio transition between all of your B-roll. It just makes it a little bit, it just makes it sound a little bit nicer overall. Particularly if you've got a lot of variations in your net sound environment. I was going to discuss morph cuts, but I think they look freaky. Morph cuts are in your textbook. It basically shows a type of jump cut, but it's just, it kind of creeps me out, to be honest. But just know that the morph cut is in there, and it takes some time to render. So if you go to effects and transition, It's a type of dissolve, I think. Yeah. And so that it's kind of like a dissolve in that it tries to cover up that jump cut and morphs between, and it kind of freaky. So anyway, so that's the basics of transitions. They're pretty simple. If you know Final Cut Pro, you're probably not too far off in this.